Assalamu alaikum. This is Rokia Samia welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Holy Lailatul Qadr, holiest and most blessed night for Muslims to be observed across the country tonight with due solemnity and religious fervor. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus urges Asian leaders to come forward towards ensuring safe and dignified repatriation of displaced Rohingyas to Myanmar. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus seeks support and advice from former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon for smooth transition to democracy in Bangladesh. US President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi felicitate Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus and Bangladeshi people on occasion of Independence and National Day. Students from various universities in Istanbul marching on streets for 2 days demanding fall of Erdogan's government in Turkey. And Arsenal reached semi-final beating Real Madrid in returning leg of quarter-final in Women UEFA Champions League. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The holy Lailatul Qadr or Shab-e Qadr today, the holiest and most blessed night for Muslims, will be observed across the country tonight with due solemnity and religious fervor. Muslim devotees will spend the night seeking divine blessings for peace and progress of the country as well as the Muslim Ummah. According to the Holy Quran, this is superior to 1,000 nights as the Quran was revealed to the greatest prophet Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him, on this glorified night to show mankind the path of worldly and eternal emancipation. Muslim devotees usually pass the night offering special prayers, recitation from the Holy Quran, holding Milad Mahfiz, zikr and other religious rituals at mosques and in their houses. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus issued a message greeting the countrymen and the Muslim Ummah and sought divine blessings for peace and progress of the country as well as for the Muslim Ummah on the occasion. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus has asked the Asian countries to chart a clear roadmap for a shared future and prosperity. He made the call while addressing Boa Forum for Asia conference in Hainan today. The Chief Advisor said Asia must step up and strengthen cooperation in 4 key areas: financial, trade, food and agriculture and technology, stressing Bangladesh faces multiple challenges which are shared by other Asian countries. He also urged Asian leaders to come forward towards ensuring safe and dignified repatriation of displaced Rohingyas to their homeland in Myanmar. Professor Yunus called for a fundamental shift toward a zero-waste lifestyle and social business.
SDG financial gap of 2.5% to $4 trillion annually. Beyond SDG financing, Asia also needs large-scale investments in infrastructure and economic diversification through responsible financing. For more than 7 years, Bangladesh has been hosting over 1.2 million forcibly displaced Rohingyas who are Myanmar nationals. We continue to bear significant social, economic and environmental costs. The UN Secretary General recently visited the camps in solidarity. While global efforts are drastically shrinking but continuing, Asian leaders must come together to ensure their safe and dignified repatriation to their home country, Myanmar. Asia must create a sustainable financial mechanism. Regional MDBs and similar institutions should lead this effort. We need reliable funds that address our challenges and meet our growing demands. Second, Trade cooperation. Asia remains one of the least integrated regions. This weak integration stifles investment and trade. We must work to boost trade cooperation immediately. Third, food and agricultural cooperation. Finally, mobilizing intellectual resources and youth power must be at the center of our collective actions. The climate crisis poses an existential threat to humanity. In Asia-Pacific region, climate disaster-related economic losses are already enormous, which is equivalent to $65 billion. Climate-vulnerable countries like Bangladesh are forced to divert resources towards disaster response, limiting investments in productive sectors. We need new, additional, accessible, non-ODA, non-debt creating, grant-based climate finance with an equitable distribution between adaptation and mitigation. Universal access to life-saving medicines and technologies must be guaranteed. Our youth and citizens demonstrated exceptional resolve and strength to redefine the future of Bangladesh. To restore public trust, we have initiated critical reforms. Independent commissions have been launched to reform the electoral system, judiciary, civil administration, law enforcement. These reforms, when implemented, will bring about fundamental transformation for our nation. As we build a new Bangladesh, we face multiple challenges which are shared by other Asian countries.
Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus sought support and advice from former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon for a smooth transition to democracy in Bangladesh. Professor Yunus told this Ban Ki-moon as they met on the sidelines of the Boao Forum for Asia annual conference. Ban Ki-moon praised the leadership of Chief Advisor Professor Yunus and said Bangladesh will do much better under his leadership. The former UN Secretary General recalled his role in setting up diplomatic relationships between Bangladesh and South Korea. The chief advisor also sought Ban Ki-moon's support in settling the Rohingya crisis and invited him to visit Bangladesh at a convenient time. China and Bangladesh has agreed to deepen their relationships with Beijing, saying it would extend full support to the interim government of the country. The two countries have also agreed to boost investment, trade and cultural ties, people-to-people exchanges as they mark 50 years since the establishment of their diplomatic relationships. Chinese Executive Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang met Bangladesh Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus on the sidelines of the Boao Forum today, and the two leaders also led a bilateral meeting between the two nations. Vice Premier Ding said China hopes Bangladesh would prosper and grow under the leadership of Professor Yunus. During the meeting, Bangladesh Chief Advisor reiterated the country's firm commitment to the One China policy and said Dhaka takes pride in being the first South Asian country to join China's Belt and Road Initiative. Deputy Prime Minister of Russia Alexei Overchuk today called on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus on the sidelines of Boao Forum for Asia annual conference being held in China's Hainan province. He met the Chief Advisor Professor Yunus at BF International Convention Center. Wu Xiaoling, former Vice President of the Central Bank of China, also called on Chief Advisor Professor Yunus on the sideline. Energy Advisor M. Fawzul Kabir Khan, High Representative to the Chief Advisor Dr. Khalil Rahman, Principal Secretary on SDGs Affairs Lamia Morshed, and Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam were present. U.S. President Donald Trump has felicitated Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus and the people of Bangladesh on the occasion of Independence and National Day. In a message, he pledged to work together to strengthen bilateral relations between the U.S. and Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his felicitations to Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus and the people of Bangladesh on the occasion of the National Day of Bangladesh. In the message, Narendra Modi said, Independence Day stands as a testament to shared history and sacrifices that have laid the foundation of bilateral partnership between Bangladesh and India. He said the spirit of the liberation war of Bangladesh continues to remain a guiding light for relationship of the two countries. The process of formally framing charges for crimes against humanity will begin at the International Crimes Tribunal after Eid. Chief Prosecutor Tajul Islam stated this while briefing journalists after a hearing at the tribunal where former Sub-Inspector Malek and Constable Mukul were presented in connection with the case of 6 people being killed and burned in Ashulia during the July-August mass uprising. The chief prosecutor mentioned that the investigation reports for the Ashulia murder case and 3 other cases are in the final stages. These cases include the July-August Jankarpur murder case, a partial report on the Rampura murder case, and the Sheikh Hasina's command responsibility case. Finance advisor Dr. Saliuddin Ahmed has stated that there will be no stagnation in economic activities during the extended Eid al-Fitr holiday. He made this remark while speaking to journalists today after a meeting of the Advisory Committee on Procurement at the Secretariat. Addressing concerns about a potential slowdown in internal economic activities due to the long Eid holiday, the economic advisor assured that there is no risk of stagnation. He added that in case of any urgent matters, the Advisory Council will make decisions through online discussions. Meanwhile, Home Secretary Nasimul Ghani stated that the police and other law enforcement agencies will not be on holiday. They will remain on high alert to ensure the security of city residents. He also mentioned that all necessary measures have been taken to ensure the safety of travelers at various terminals and during Eid journeys. He also added, in addition to heightened security measures, all police stations will continue their regular operations. Now, international news. Students from various universities in Istanbul have also been marching on the streets for the past 2 days in Turkey. They chanted slogans demanding the fall of the government. The banners and flags held by the protesters read that the Erdogan government should fall. Amid the ongoing protests in Turkey, widespread arrests have also begun. On Tuesday, millions of people protested in various cities, including the capital, Ankara. At that time, security forces detained more than 1,500 people, including an AFP photographer. More than 150 police officers were injured in the protesters' attack. Several global organizations have condemned the arrest of the journalists. President Erdogan is practically under pressure in this largest protest in the past decade. News agencies said the protest initially demanded the release of Istanbul Mayor İmamoğlu, but have now turned into demands for the fall of the government. The protesters are demanding the fall of Erdogan. The anti-government protests in Turkey are taking place amid Erdogan's closeness to Russia and his distance from the United States and Israel. It would kick off the party's campaign to put İmamoğlu ahead of the country's next president in the 2028 election. The main opposition Republican People's Party (CHP) presidential candidate and Istanbul mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu was arrested last week by police on corruption, bid rigging and fraud charges. Abdel Latif al-Qanoua, a spokesman for the Palestinian independence movement Hamas, has been killed when Israeli forces attacked his tent in Zabalia in the northern Gaza Strip. On the other hand, the Quds News Network also published a report on the killing of the Hamas spokesman. They also published a photo of al-Qanou's body covered in dirt. In a separate report, Reuters news agency reported that Hamas-affiliated media outlets reported early Thursday that Hamas spokesman Abdel Latif al-Qanoua had been killed in an Israeli airstrike in northern Gaza. Many senior Hamas officials have lost their lives since Israel resumed its offensive in Gaza. The Hamas-run Al-Aqsa TV reported that Al-Qano was killed in an attack targeting his tent in Zabalia. Several others were wounded in the same attack. Meanwhile, medical sources said at least 6 people were killed in separate attacks in Gaza City and one in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Israel is killing a child every 45 minutes in the Palestinian Gaza Strip. Accordingly, they have killed an average of 30 children every day in the 535 days of the war. More than 500,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7, 2023, including 17,400 children.